Hi, everyone. This is Michelle Grimolia, and I am the president and CEO here at Woodland Pond. Today is Tuesday, December 21st, 2021, and this is my weekly update for a Tuesday. Today, this update is going to be re-aired actually at 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. rather than at 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. And that is because we have a number of instrumental performances this afternoon and this evening that would conflict with that. So I will put this in an email address or in an email to everybody as well. But this will air again today at 4 and 6 p.m. So to speak directly about those awesome activities and opportunities that we have today. So at 2 p.m. today in the PAC, if you have not yet had the pleasure of seeing Roger Leonard recite the Christmas Carol or his rendition of A Christmas Carol, it's something to behold. It's become quite a tradition here at Woodland Pond over the years, and I would strongly encourage you making the time to be there today in the packet to see that. Alternatively, of course, you can catch that on WPTV channel 1340. And then this evening at 7 p.m., we have the Hudson Valley Flute Ensemble concert, and they will be performing a holiday concert for us. I'm not entirely sure of the content. That will be a surprise, but in terms of the talent and the impressiveness that they bring, if you have not seen this, this is that you cannot miss. They are so talented. Some of you may have caught them here in the past. They practice here. Their musical prowess is really astounding. And so I would certainly encourage you to, take the opportunity to either go to that performance in person or to catch that also on channel 1340 WPTV. That will air at 7 p.m. tonight. And just of note, there are going to be 2 children present. They will be masked except when they are playing. I believe they will be in the hallway. So we're doing this in a very safe manner. They will not be up close and personal with any of the residents, but they are part of the performance and they will be here and they're welcome. So just to be aware of that. And then the final update in terms of musical things to expect this week on Thursday at 2 p.m. The Harmony Tuba Quartet will perform. Again, that will be in the PAC on Thursday at 2 p.m. And that will air also on WPTV on Thursday, channel 1340 at 2 p.m. Our resident Bill Toole is a big part of that group. So lots of opportunities for some live music this week, and I hope you all take the time to enjoy it. Of course, you should not be attending anything in person if you have any symptoms of any illness. You should wear your mask the entire time. That's required at this point. And keep safe distancing if you can. All of these little steps to sort of keep everybody safe while enjoying the best parts of the holiday. So just a couple of other updates. So today is going to be my last day in the office until after Christmas. I will be back next week. I'm not sure if that's going to be Monday, but definitely Tuesday. So I will be rather disconnected starting tomorrow. I will be available for my team to reach in the event of an emergency. I will continue to do any listserv or communication updates that I need to in the event that we have some kind of a situation that warrants wide-scale communication while I am out. But in terms of routine email checking, routine issues that are not emergency, I will not be as responsive as I typically am because I am taking the time off for Christmas. At this point, all of you should have contacts for every department and every issue. So while oftentimes folks do come to me first, I would always encourage you to go right to the department head for which the issue is concerned. So for example, if you've got a concern about Christmas dining reservations, you should be going to Will, the interim general manager for dining. If you have a question about, access to testing, Sarah can answer those questions for you. If you have a question about health center visitation, you can start with calling reception or contact any of the leadership members in the health center. So my not being here doesn't mean that you can't get answers. It just means that you go to someone else for the departments in which the issue or question lives, I guess I would say. So if you don't hear from me on an issue that's, not an emergency this week, that's why. Let's see. I want to just chat for a moment about testing options and protocols. I've issued a couple of memos with information indicating to everyone at this point that, COVID does seem to be spreading rather quickly at this time. It also seems that the illness that is spreading currently, which appears to primarily be Omicron, is a relatively mild form of the illness. So for those folks that are vaccinated and boosted, which is most of our residents, if you are to become infected, it should be a relatively mild infection. The whole intent, again, of the vaccines and the boosters is to make sure that we're not having the level of hospitalizations, the level of deaths that we were seeing early on in the pandemic. And it looks like the vaccines and the boosters are working for their intended purposes at this time. But there's no question that the virus is spreading rather quickly. So in terms of you thinking about, yourself, your actions, your plans, everyone should sort of have the mindset of, we have to protect ourselves. We have to identify our own risk tolerance. Wearing a mask whenever you can is extremely important. We would highly recommend surgical masks, but well-fitting surgical masks. They seem to do better at preventing the spread of COVID than a cloth mask. You should be safely distancing when you can. There's no reason to be sitting right on top of somebody if you can easily have a conversation when you are distanced. We've all become pretty astute at being able to understand each other with a mask on. So that shouldn't be an impediment to conversation. We're going on almost 2 years with these things, and I think at this point, everybody's quite adjusted to them. So we shouldn't be taking our masks off to have a conversation with someone. It's not worth it. But if you are, consuming food, consuming refreshments, you can do so even in the family setting. If you go home, with family for Christmas, keep distance. There's no reason that you have to sit right next to each other on the couch. You could sit here and your grandchild could sit, in a chair 6 feet away. Everyone's going to be able to see each other. Everyone's going to be able to hear each other. It's just making the smart choices to, do what your heart is telling you. And I said this yesterday, do what your heart is telling you, but to be safe. And I am going to ask everyone to consider, if you are going off campus and you're not sure of the infection status or vaccination status of the people that you are with, the best thing to do is do what your heart is telling you to do for Christmas. And then for the week after that, just stay in. Outside solo activity is fine. But I would recommend, don't go to your group activities, don't go to the dining room. It's just not worth the risk. And a week goes very quickly. It's the safest way. And, nobody wants to be the person that says, I went for Christmas, we thought everything was good, and then find out that one of the people there tests positive. Nobody wants to bring that back to the dining room here. Nobody wants to bring that back to an activity. So, just having very safe behaviors after Christmas, as far as it relates to the community, is the best way to ensure that we aren't accidentally taking what came from Christmas and making it a Woodland Pond problem. So I would just encourage you all to just stay in. If you're going, into large group settings or parties for Christmas, go ahead and enjoy that if you're comfortable with that. But the week after that, just kind of stay put. We can bring meals to you. And if you decide to do that, just let us know and we will waive the delivery charge for dining. That won't be a problem. Actually, maybe we'll waive it wide scale for next week. I'll talk to the team about that. That would make it even easier. And, we can kind of go from there. So as of right now, just to be clear, we have no change in activities. Everything is on as scheduled, including the dining rooms being open. I'm simply making a recommendation to you that if you do go out for Christmas in large settings, large group settings, that you please really consider the week after that to not participate in congregate activities on campus. Again, that's just the safest way. So that is what I'm asking you to please consider. If anything changes, I will let you know. Okay. The next thing that I wanted to mention, I'm sorry, about testing. So a number of you have inquired about the access to testing, prophylactically. So, my child wants me to be tested before I come for Christmas. So we currently do not have the capability to do that. some weeks ago, the state stopped sending us rapid tests because their assumption was that with all of our staff and residents being vaccinated, we didn't have to do routine wide-scale testing any longer. And so we don't have access to those rapids. We have purchased some. They are exceedingly expensive and very hard to get, and we must utilize them when we have an exposure in the health center. So when we have a direct care, hands-on staff member that tests positive, or a resident that tests positive in the health center, we're required to test all of the residents every week for a period of time. And we absolutely have to have those tests for that purpose. So currently we are not offering any testing to any other residents for either symptoms or just to ensure that you don't have COVID in order to enjoy the holidays. We just don't have the tests. We are investigating the option of utilizing the lab that we used about 18 months ago to do PCR testing here on campus. Some of you might remember, that if you're in independent living, you would have gone to the art studio. Mary Jo would have swabbed you. That was a lab from Boston. And we have inquired with them to find out if they are available to allow us to do that and what the costs would look like. But it is our understanding right now that many of the insurance companies, including Medicare, are not covering COVID tests for people that are not symptomatic. So for those that are just wishing to have a test to ensure that you don't have COVID, to enjoy a holiday celebration, you're going to be very hard pressed to, find access to a test like that. They're not really available in the pharmacies right now. Everybody's sold out. We don't have them. Insurance isn't covering them. So, a typical PCR test that's not covered by insurance is, upwards of $400. So, COVID is sort of widespread right now. So I think, the way I'm looking at it is, like, for my own holiday celebrations, that there's a good possibility that one or more of the people that are there probably are either going to be, positive at the time and we don't know it, or might have a mild case. So I am going to follow my own advice and keep 6 feet distance. I'm not going to be hugging and kissing everyone. I am going to keep it very low key the week after Christmas. So again, following my heart, but trying to be careful. So if you have questions, I will be in the office the remainder of the day today on that. I can help you. My understanding is Sarah plans to be in the office all week. She can answer your questions if you're in independent living, as can Mary Jo. Health center, just ask any of the nursing staff and they can help you. So that's where we're at on that. If we get any access or any more information on testing on site, I will let you know. One other thing on testing, a number of you have reached out to me to ask me if Woodland Pond would provide transportation, or if we think residents should go to the Ulster County free rapid test pickup event that's happening tomorrow in New Paltz. And my answer to that is, I think it's a terrible idea to go there. We've seen it in Saugerties and in Kingston, there is a mass of people that go. Especially with it being cold out, those people are accumulating on top of one another in internal or inside settings. Many of those people are already symptomatic, which is why they are seeking those tests in the first place. And given the high risk nature of our residents and the fact that we don't currently have anyone that is symptomatic, I think that the risks of going into that setting by far outweigh the rewards. Having a rapid test handy just in case, at the risk of going into an inside setting with so many people with long lines and potentially, being exposed to COVID, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So Woodland Pond will not be providing transportation, and I would strongly recommend that residents do not go to those events to get a rapid test. You will only get one. And the lines have been really crazy. Kingston actually had to cancel their additional 2 events that they were planning on holding because they ran out of tests. So it's there's more demand than there is supply. It's a high risk event because it's inside, or potentially, standing outside and then inside to get a test. So you can choose to do what you want, but I would strongly recommend against it. But that's your choice. Okay, one final thing. I just wanted to give an update. I know Tom has been giving periodic updates, but I do have some information about the ongoing HVAC issues, so the heating issues. So I think that all of you at this point are aware that I don't know, probably about 6 to 8 weeks ago, we had Hekaroth, which is our HVAC contractor, come in and assess the condition of all of our rooftop units. So we have more than 30 of them. So these are the big giant machines that are on top of the roofs. And for every single one, they provided to myself and to Tom Tango a list of condition. So, for each one, it was identified that either nothing is needed, some repair could be utilized, some preventative maintenance could be done. Here's what we need to do. Here's what we need to replace immediately. Here's what we need to replace in the long term. So what I decided at that time, again, 6+ weeks ago, was that anything that needed to be done, whether it's for today or down the road, I gave them the green light to order everything. Even if Hekaroth felt that we could get a little bit of life out of any of those rooftop units, I said, place the order. So, obviously there's a significant financial impact to doing so, but my thinking was, we know that supply chain issues are incredibly challenging right now. So where we're seeing challenges with all kinds of supplies coming in, food supplies, ingredients, testing supplies, everything. We know that consumer goods, and especially commercial consumer goods like rooftop units and their components, are very far out in terms of lead times. So rather than taking the normal conservative approach that I take and say, we'll wait till we get closer to needing to replace them, I gave the green light to Tom to have everything ordered, and Hekaroth placed all of the orders for everything that we knew we would need immediately and in the coming months. So in so doing, we started the ball rolling on getting all of the supplies rolling in, and good for it because it's gotten cold. A couple of the units that were a little bit iffy have started to glitch a little bit more. But the reality is that despite us saying immediately at that time, many weeks ago, and cutting the checks for the supplies, they are not coming in. So I know that there have been some comments made that somehow Woodland Pond is responsible for not maintaining the systems. And I want to just put that to bed right away. We have done everything we possibly can. Hekaroth, their vans are here every single day. They are tinkering with what they can to try to get things that aren't working up and running, but they are completely hamstrung in terms of not having actually access to components that they usually would have readily available, different connections, and most importantly, some of the big rooftop units that we're waiting on. So this is not a matter of Woodland Pond not acting. This is a matter of supply chain. So if you have heard that or suspected that, I know Tom did a great job speaking at the Men's Coffee last week about this concern. We are putting every resource we possibly can into this. Hekaroth does not come cheap, but they are keeping everything for the most part pretty much up and running. The pool pack, we anticipate will be back in operating order on Wednesday. So for those that have asked, the pool water is completely fine. The temp is fine. The room is in the 60s, and that's not a problem. It's in the high 60s, but I know the residents usually like it in the 90s. So we've got the doors open and there's heat coming in, but Hekaroth has been on the roof. They were here before me this morning. They're really doing everything they can, and they are excellent. It's just, we've got a massive building, hundreds and hundreds of different heating elements and so forth, but we are all completely hostage to the supply chain issue. So I'd like to put that to bed. Incidentally, I think some of you know that we have been attempting to hire an HVAC technician. We're offering a $10,000 sign-on bonus. We don't have vacancies really anywhere except in dining. Just a couple of spots here and there in every department. And even with a $10,000 sign-on bonus, we cannot get an HVAC tech. And that is not particular to Woodland Pond. Again, for those that have speculated that it's a Woodland Pond problem, it is not. I would encourage everyone to really read about how very challenging it is for people to get staff. The workforce is just not there, particularly in trades where it's a specialized thing. it just, the workforce isn't there, and we're doing everything that we can despite, challenges costing us a good amount of money to do all of this. But I wanted to dispel some of that. And I know that, many of you hearing my voice saying this can take this information and share it with people, give them the good information to replace the bad or the supposition that might be out there. And again, if you ever have any questions about any of these kinds of things, you need to come to me or come to the department head so that we can give you the facts. It's never good or helpful for anybody to sort of be working on rumor. And we're always very transparent. So just go ahead and ask us the questions and we will get that information out for you. So I think, let's see, that's all that I think I needed to cover for today. So if I don't see any of you, or if I don't see you, I hope you have a very Merry Christmas, and I will catch up with you after the Christmas holiday. Thanks so much.